Hello, my name is Judit Bóna. I'm a linguist, a speech researcher at the Faculty of Humanities of Eötvös Loránd University, at the Department of Applied Linguistics and Phonetics. During speaking, we often interrupt our speech with silent pauses, filled pauses, repetitions, filler words, and if we produce an error, we can repair it. These non-pathological hesitations, except for silent pauses, are the so-called disfluencies in speech. They provide time for speech planning processes, for example, for word finding the exact grammatical form, or self-monitoring. They are also important for the listener because they give time for understanding. The analysis of speech fluency is quite important because these fluencies, speech errors, and silent pauses are windows to the covered speech planning processes. So, we can understand the difficulties in speech planning, word finding, and language use. The fluency of speech is also characterized by speech tempo. This means that speaking rate and articulation rate, so the speed of the movement of speech organs during articulation with pausing strategies, are determining factors in speech fluency. For the analysis of speech fluency, we need a lot of speech recordings. After that we have these recordings, we start the annotation. The annotation can be carried out manually or automatically, but the automatic annotation has to be corrected manually as well. So this means that human work cannot be eliminated for the correct measurements. After that we have good annotations. We start the examination. We calculate temporal parameters and we carry out qualitative analysis. During my research career, the main topic of my research was the analysis of the age-specific characteristics of speech. I analyzed also the age characteristics of speech fluency. At the moment, I analyze speech fluency from different aspects. As a senior researcher of a research group, me and my colleagues examine the fluency of oral reading of primary school children in connection with eye movements. Our main questions are: what types of eye movements characterize the beginner readers and expert readers, and what happens when the reader makes a miscue? We found correlations between the duration of self-repairs in speech and the types and complexity of eye movements. When the repair of the miscue is more difficult, it needs more time in speech, and there are more complex eye movements like long fixations and regressions. We hope that when we complete our research, we can define the expected reading fluency in each grade, and we can contribute to the development of reading instruction. Another area where the analysis of speech fluency is very important is the atypical speech. A large body of research demonstrates that temporal parameters and frequency of these fluencies can be a sensitive tool for predicting cognitive decline. Currently, in another research group, we examine the speech of people with multiple sclerosis. There is very little information about the speech characteristics of this disease because not all the patients are affected with speech and language problems. Only 60% of them are affected by any language or speech disorders. The main symptom is the dysarthria, which goes along with the changes of speaking and articulation rate and pausing. We found that before dysarthria occurs, the temporal parameters might change. However, our results show that the relationship between the physical, cognitive, and speech and language abilities is far from evident. Physical and mental states do not seem to be associated with changes in speech parameters. We need to do much more analysis to examine the reasons of changes in speech. We hope that our results will contribute to the diagnosis and therapy of multiple sclerosis. And I hope that our research in speech fluency will be useful for many other practical applications for speech and language therapy and diagnosis, and for education in the future.